Welcome to this short video on PowerFX function, a new feature that Microsoft released in preview a few days ago. My name is Serge Luca. I'm a business application MVP based in Brussels and working for ShareQL.com. Go to the release planner, you go to Microsoft Dataverse panel, and then you click Coming Soon. You'll find out the author PowerFX function in Power Apps, which is released right now and should be available in production in March 25, right? So next month. But we can test it. So basically, in a solution, in a Power Platform solution, you now have a new folder called function. This is where you can create your function by clicking here, new automation function, and you have an interface to define the function name, the function description, the input parameters, and the output result. And then, of course, the logic of the formula, right? Which is exactly what I've done here for one calculator. So I've created a function called calculator. So basically, it's a function that takes two parameters. So the display name is calculator. This is a basic description, which, by the way, is mandatory. Two parameters, A, B, in this case, two integers. There are other types, of course. One output result, C, which is an integer as well here, and the formula code, which is this, right? Open brace, close brace, the output result, and the formula logic. If you click advanced option, you will see the schema name of your function. So in this case, the schema is PPA24 underscore something, right? So PPA24. So the full function name is PPA24 underscore calculator, right? So you save and then you can use the function directly. So it's pretty cool and easy. Okay. To be able to call this function from a button, for instance, I have to reference the environment as a data source because this function is grouped in this environment, right? And then you can call the function. As you can see, you have to specify the schema of the function. In my case, the schema is PPA24 underscore calculator, and you can pass the parameter, and you can store the result. In this case, I store it in a global variable called result. Okay, so that's very easy. So that is all my function. What my function looks like, if you remember. This is the schema name of the function, right? So PPA24 underscore calculator, right? So this is quite easy. If I run this, click button, and now let's check my result global variable. Okay, so in result, you will find that it's actually a record containing the result C, which in this case is 21. Okay, so that's easy, very easy. Okay, now I would like to create something a bit more complex, a function that interact with the database. So I have a database, Dataverse, with two tables, expense line item, and each expense is made of several line items. That means in line item table, I have a foreign key that point to the corresponding expense. And in the same line item table, I have a cost column. And what I want is to be able to calculate the total cost of one specific expense, right? So I would like to create a function that does that. Okay, so let's take a look at the table. So we have line items and expense here. So the schema name is PA24 line item and PA24 underscore expense. Now, let's create a function. Here. And I've already a function called calculate expense cost, so I will recreate this function. Automation function, and let's call this function calculate expense cost, and let's name it calculate expense cost v2. Some description, and I will have to provide a input parameter that give information about the primary key of the expense. Okay, and the primary key is supposed to be a GUID, but we don't have the GUID type, so let's call it expense GUID, but it should be, in this case, a string. Let's put an output, which could be a float. Let's name it expense cost. Okay, expense cost. You can specify the table reference that you need to manipulate. So in this case, you need to select expense and line items. Expense cost is our return value, and let's do it step by step. Sum of line items. This is what we want to return. We want to return the cost, the sum of all the costs, right? And now I will refine this by filtering the line items. So filter, so parentheses, so filter, parentheses, line item, and I just want the line item with the ID, the GUID that the user provides. So expense underscore is actually the lookup column that point to expense, right? So expense underscore, that's my naming convention for the lookup. Dot expense, which is the GUID, right? So expense underscore dot expense, that's point to the GUID. And the GUID, I need to compare that to, I need to use the GUID function, because the GUID in my case is parameter of text, base of text, and GUID parentheses, expense GUID parameter. This should work. Okay, so now it's filtered. Okay, fine. If I save this, you see the schema name, PPA24 underscore calculate expense cost V2. That's actually what I will see in my Canva application. Now let's go to Power Apps. This is my form. You need to refresh the environment data source because you got a new function. And now when I click, I will try to calculate the cost of a selected, the selected expense, which is in my gallery. So environment.ppa24, which is my schema name, PPA24. Yeah. And this is my function, parentheses, and I have to specify which parameter I need to feed, expense GUID, and the value will be text of the GUID. So text of the gallery containing the list of expense, gallery.selected, dot expense, so this return the GUID that I transform as a text, and okay, now I need to close the brace and the parentheses, yes, and I have to store the output result. Here I will store it in the global variable, GBL cost, like this, don't forget the parentheses, okay. So let's, okay, so here in the label I will display the content of this global variable, which is the cost. So GBL cost dot oh, result. Sorry, I mean I need to put the ampersand. Ampersand, yes, ampersand GBL cost dot and expense cost, which is my output parameter. Cool. Now, if I run this, when I select travel to Malines, which is a nice city in Belgium, click and you get 57, right? So the function works well. Travel to Likasi, which is a city in Congo, click and you get 436. That works well. Cool. Now, what is interesting is that you can create a cloud flow that calls this function. Okay, so now if I edit this flow, you will see that from this flow, it's just a demo, right? I'm calling my function, and to do this, you just need to use the perform an unbound action in selected environment. Select the environment, and you will see the list of function here. This is my function. And you just need to pass the parameter. As you can see, you get the list of function. So that's very easy. And yeah, for instance, I'm thinking about using regular expression because for a fixed function support regular expression, and it's not supported in Power Automate flows. So it's a way to use that. So and then in the compose, you can just put your result. If I run this flow, now in the compose, I should get my cost, right? Which is the one from Malines, 57. So that's cool. Okay. Now, if we go to what we used to call, yeah, let's test this. Is it 57? Yeah, it's 57. Let's test the function again. Yeah, 57. Okay, that's correct. Now, if we go to the Dataverse Accelerator app, which is actually the previous app hosting all this plumbing, you will see that there are actually what we used to call low-code plugin. There are two types of low-code plugin, instant plugin and automated plugin. So function are actually instant plugin, but in the future, Microsoft will provide support for automated plugin. That means functions that are called based on an event in Dataverse. Okay, so here you see my function can also be edited from the Dataverse Accelerator app. So I don't think that this app will be supported in the future. Everything will migrate directly to Power App Studio. But what is interesting is we have plugin monitoring there. And here we can analyze the trace of our function call. You see, the call to my calculate function here. So that's very convenient. Okay, so I hope that you enjoyed this short video. Thank you very much.